Welcome to the Bookers Alliance podcast, where we hold the pencil and the pencil is power. Coming at you right now is your host, Marky Mark, along with the man, the myth, the legend, Frank Donaldson. Join us as we discuss the ever-changing landscape of professional wrestling. So hang on tight, you jabronis, and enjoy the ride. Hey, welcome in, everybody. Thank you for joining today's episode of the Bookers Alliance podcast. We got a hot one for you today, Frank, don't we?
Oh yeah, we're gonna have some fun today. We're gonna make AEW great again. We're gonna take a fledgling AEW and then we're gonna make it great again. We're gonna make AEW
that even fits MAGA.
There you go. See, make AEW great again. That's what we're doing here. We got to do something with all the wasted ass hats from back in 2020.
Yeah.
And all these neighborhood folks still wear around here so proudly and all. We got to make them things worth something. So let's make them worth that.
And that's about as close to politics as you will get us.
Yeah, that's all folks. We need on that. That's the end all be all of that. Especially with everything else going on. Yeah, no, we're going to be the relief from that.
As we joked about and talked about earlier, we over here rowing our own boat.
Absolutely.
All right, so we're going to talk about a few things today. Today's topic, though, is we did a show a while back in the archives. Y'all go back and listen, called The Crystal Ball Show. This is kind of the Crystal Ball Show, the AEW edition.
Oh, yeah.
But we want to kick it off with a little bit of the news, so to speak, as what's going on in the world of professional wrestling. Let's talk about the Tuesday Night War here just for a few seconds.
Oh, yeah, that's fun stuff. I mean, the ratings finally came out, and as we all know, AEW, they topped out in the low sixes, I think 609,000. WWE or NXT maxed out at 921,000. So that's a trounce in there. That's pretty bad. I mean,
in the landscape of things, when it comes to TV ratings, by no means are we TV producers or ratings specialists. But when you got beat, you got beat. Take your licking and keep on ticking. Get back up and do better. So.
Yeah, there you go. And don't do it on Twitter though. I mean, look at your product out. So what about all those posts that Tony had? We got to crack one open for that.
We'll have something on that a little bit.
We might have to crack one open on the Tony thing here.
Yeah, we'll crack it up and we'll salute to NXT.
All right.
As a congratulatory for that victory there, sir.
Cheers,
sir. Good old brought to you by Miller 64 tonight.
Oh yeah.
Studio 64.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
It's like N64, but it's M64, Miller 64.
Went on video game on you. Like
that. There you go. That's all I know. Video games, wrestling, beer.
Something else that rhymes with popcorn, but we'll leave that alone.
All right.
Did I get a pop?
There you go.
I finally got a pop.
It took me a minute to think. I had to think that one through. I'm like, wait a minute. Hold on. Where are we going with this?
Finally got my pop. All right. So we're talking about the ratings, but let's talk a little bit about the SmackDown and Raw season premieres. SmackDown going out there with a big gun, going out there with the tribal chief, the one, Mr. Roman Reigns.
Got to bring him back for that. I mean, if you want to pop a rating, there's a good way to do it.
Absolutely. Looking fresh as ever, coming off of his month and a half getaway.
Good Lord. We haven't seen him since SummerSlam. I didn't even realize it had been that long until they started
he looked well rested, and even Paul Heyman's hair turned back black.
Faded back
he
black.
He was back in black.
Fade to black. All right, Paul Heyman.
All right, but Roman had some business to handle. He's trying to rein old Jimmy back in a little bit there. Done told him, to go handle some business.
Yeah.
And
to remind Jimmy who the starting quarterback was. You would think Roman was out on injury, but he was just kind of out. So
he was out.
Yeah, Jimmy had to play quarterback, and Roman had to remind him, hey, who's the starter here and who's the backup?
But Roman had some interesting altercations when he came back.
Yeah.
One
definitely positioned him in a lot of different angles here. But
one in the form of Mr. L.A. Knight.
Yep.
Yeah.
L.A. Knight came right on out and confronted him face to face, and apparently at a house show over the weekend, he dropped old Roman after that. Gave him a taste of his own medicine out there. But
and cameraman, I appreciate you for the shot that you got us, because that is providing so many memes now.
Oh, in the reflection
of the glasses.
Yeah. So and as it was happening, like while we had it going, LA Knight looked down, and I kind of winced when he did it. I'm like, oh,
like no, stay.
Now obviously he didn't know that was happening. He didn't know that kind of magic was being made right at that moment. Plus, let's be honest, LA Knight ain't been in that position before, so it may have took him back a little bit where he may have been a little out of character, but for the moment that we had it, that was classic.
That was awesome.
You see Roman staring him down right in his dead in his eye, as they say.
Yeah, they couldn't. I don't think they can make a PLE poster better than that.
No, not now. Shot. I mean, they were. It's a one-time only deal. They can do it every other time they want to, but it'll never be as authentic as that time.
Yeah. Then he had an altercation with one and only Mr. Nightmare, Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, they kind of. So Cody had squared off against Solo, and then all of a sudden Roman popped out, and Cody kind of moved over. And I think there was a little bit of irony in that because Cody moved over to get in Roman's way. I feel like Cody's going to have to move back over to get out of Roman's way on this road to WrestleMania.
Yeah, either that
I don't think that's where his road's going to end this year.
Either that or Cody's going to have to move LA Knight over.
Yeah, there's a lot of people stepping up for that top spot.
There's a lot of people, and a lot of people I'm not going to disagree with wanting to see.
I mean, and let's be honest, if The Rock comes back, all those guys take a step back. Yeah. They don't step over anymore. They take a step back. So there's so many different teasers out there. There's so many different hints for this and that. What do we always say here? Great time to be a wrestling fan.
Great time to be a fan. Papa H is in the kitchen cooking. He's
in there all by himself now. He's head chef.
He's head chef.
Yeah,
that's right.
He's head chef now.
He makes the menu.
Yeah, we don't have to worry about the manager coming in there and telling him, take this back, make it again. Yep. There's no more make it again. What you get is what you get.
Yep, and he's gonna have some misses. I mean, there'll be some misses along the way, but man, are we enjoying the ride so far?
Oh yeah. Well, speaking of misses, the Raw season premiere. I told you already, and I definitely want to get it said on this podcast. I feel like not giving that Intercontinental title to Big Bronson Reed was a miss. I feel like that title was carved up and shined up real nicely to be handed over to Big Bronson Reed, and they didn't do it.
Yeah, for those who don't know, this is an inside joke. I hate the fact that they are calling that man Big Bronson. We know he's big.
Wait a minute. He's big, right?
But we're not blind.
But is he big?
He's big.
Is he Bronson?
He's Bronson.
Is he Reed?
He's Reed.
He's Big Bronson Reed.
You don't have to reiterate it.
Absolutely. Every single time. And then because Michael Cole was out, we had Kevin Patrick who made sure to accentuate it every single time. Big Bronson.
Big Bronson Reed.
Big Bronson.
We know the man. Just announce him as Big Bronson Reed when he walks to the ring, and that's it. You ain't got to tell me no more.
No.
You don't have to tell me the Scotsman Drew McIntyre.
For the rest of the match, they should only refer to him as Big. No. They don't even have to call him Bronson Reed.
We have a Big. He's Big E, and he's sidelined right now.
Yeah, Big E is big at home. I mean, Big E, I don't even know if he's big anymore. He probably ain't worked out in years.
Yeah, he might be big.
Hey, he could be.
Some of these guys come back jacked.
That could be true. Or it could be just big. If he could be like Ahmed Johnson big when he came back as Big T. Oof. He could be a whole lot of big the wrong way. So there's a lot of different angles you could go with this.
Yeah, but the Raw premiere, so we getting the angle of Drew McIntyre and Seth, so that's kind of cool. Hadn't seen it happen yet, but Drew is in this space right now where he's not really a good guy. He's not really a bad guy. He's just
the guy.
He's the guy.
Wait, that's a Roman.
He's walking the line, so to speak, between face and heel, and I'm digging that. I'm cool with it. I mean, that's kind of his attitude, his MO.
It's a good spot for Drew. I mean, Drew's a main eventer. Let's call a spade a spade. He's been relegated to mid card, and he was doing kind of the Intercontinental thing with Sheamus and. I wasn't getting ready to say Walter, but Gunther and, Walter. Those guys are comparative, looking physically, so I can understand it, but Drew carried the company. I mean, and he mentioned as much during the season premiere. He carried the company as champion during the worst part of the pandemic. And as the pandemic came to an end, so did his title run. So,
and I'm okay if they give him this Scottish outlaw type attitude. Cool. I'm cool with that because
what I'm not okay with though is why were the two top contenders for our biggest prize on Raw standing in the ring in skirts on Monday night? What the hell was that?
Hey man, I can't help you. You ain't up to time on the fashion.
True that. I mean, we got to do. I still dress hip hop, so yeah, I'm not down with like tight clothes and skirts and mesh tops and all that. So
hey, look, him and Becky share the same closet.
Clearly.
it's okay.
I mean,
they saving that money for that baby's college fund.
Yeah, well, I mean, I understand that. Plus, they got a lot of costumes, so you got to run out of room at some time.
Right.
But I mean, you also don't have to just like close your eyes and cover your face and then go in there blind. Just grab whatever outfit you come out with and call it a winner. Sometimes you can choose.
I could get down with actually the pants that he was wearing, or the pants skirt, whatever you want to call it, that he was wearing. The lace shirt, though, that ain't my thing.
What about the Prince heels? I mean, yeah, some Prince heels. I don't know if that was this week. That might have been last week.
I mean, Prince wore them heels, and he got all the girls. So
yeah, but that was Prince. I mean, Prince is a different breed. Prince is a different cat.
This is true, and that is a diatribe in and of itself.
Absolutely. What I tell you, he could change the side plates from SR to CD, but we'll leave that be right there where it is.
So we've got some other things shaping up on Raw. The women's title, as far as Rhea, she seems to have herself in a hot mess with everybody gunning for her right now.
Yeah, it's wild over there. I mean, it's the Wild Wild West now. You got a match with her and Shayna Baszler, which when you look at that on paper, it's like, yep, sign me right on up for that. So,
yep. Matter of fact, there was some potatoes in that match too.
Oh yeah, they kind of let loose, and I mean, it put quality to the match. So I'm like, okay, but then you get all the outside interference, and then everything starts going haywire, and I don't know. I don't love that. Sometimes you just want to see a winner. Now I get it. That's a high profile match. You don't need to see a winner on Raw.
Yeah,
but don't have it on Raw. Give me something else. Give me them wrestling other people to get to that point.
Don't give me that how do they coexist crap.
Yeah, right. We don't need to be tag teams, and we don't need to be buddy. We're
so played out.
We're in a blood feud right now. Okay, I want your title. I'm coming to get it.
Yeah,
we don't need to interact any other way except physically.
Yeah. So Rhea's a lion in her own aspect there with that belt, and she's got other lions kind of circling her tribe right now, trying to come in, and then. I'm here for it. I'm ready to see how it all breaks down.
Oh yeah, no, that storyline right now is definitely full of fire. I mean, there's a lot of meat to the bone on that. There's a lot of different ways they can go by bringing in Nia Jax and Raquel Rodriguez. You got a lot of different angles, a lot of different matches, which is good because they got a lot of time between now and WrestleMania.
Absolutely.
People are already mentioning what's going to happen at Mania. We've still got the Survivor Series. We've got Crown Jewel. We've got the Royal Rumble. I mean, there's at least 5 pay-per-views between now and WrestleMania.
Yep.
We ain't on the road to WrestleMania yet. Okay, we're mapping it out right now. We're like putting the map to WrestleMania in the maps in Google Maps. So we're gonna get there, but we ain't on the road yet. We need to pump the brakes a little bit and enjoy what we got now. We ain't on that road yet.
So that's kind of what's been happening since the last time we aired our episode. So, let's just enjoy what we're seeing. Let's enjoy being wrestling fans. Some great product on TV right now. Great storylines going. But let's spin the corner here.
Speaking of great products on TV, I mean, wow, what a lead in right there. That was. I like what you did there. I see what you did there. It's good products on TV, huh? Hint or message, as we would say. Hint, hint. Wink, wink.
Wink, wink.
There you go.
So we're going to lead into what we got going on here with the Crystal Ball Show, AEW edition. So we're going to go into that real quick here. This is where we throw out 3 things that we could seriously see happening that may be like real or could be outlandish. Could be funny,
but it'll help.
Because let's be honest, AEW is lacking in the storyline department. So anything that we kind of throw out here, AEW, TK, if you're listening, feel free to use it, man.
Yeah, none of this stuff is copyrighted. All this stuff is wide open. You don't have to call us. You don't have to run it by. No. We'll take a quiet pat on the back to ourselves when we see it happen on TV, but when you're talking about what's lacking is butts and seats over there in AEW. I mean, they ain't selling out arenas by anywhere near.
Yeah, I saw
and they're booking low end arenas. They're not booking stadiums or anything.
I saw a tweet for tonight's Dynamite. Is it 2,100 tickets?
Yeah, that's
kind of
while we're talking about those tweets and all that. Tony Kahn sent out a tweet saying that's the first time the Undertaker and John Cena and them have all performed with under 1 million viewers, and I'm thinking to myself, I mean, you got Edge and Christian on the other side who probably ain't never performed in front of less than 4,000 people.
I mean, when they were running the indie circuit, maybe.
Okay, that was when they were like 7. I mean, hell, they're 50 now. That was, 35 years ago? Yeah, 35 years ago, yeah. I never did a podcast 35 years ago, and now we're doing a podcast for over 4,000 people every week. So, I mean, what the hell?
All right, so let's get into this. I'll get us kicked off here. So we want to talk about real quick a person that when I say the name, you might go, who? But then I'll give you the who? But then I'll give you the old name. So I want to talk about Brie Garcia.
Who?
Brie Bella.
Oh, yeah. Brie Bella. Bella twins. Yeah.
So one of my predictions that may happen within the next year or two is you may see Brie Bella pop up in the AEW women's division.
I could see that.
It's been kind of rumored. She's put some hints out there on her social media that she might be eyeing for a comeback. Bryan Danielson even pointed out in the past social media scrum there, kind of after their latest pay-per-view, he pointed out, well, the ball's really in her court.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's not gonna, he's not. No,
I could see. I mean,
like he would be in full support of it.
Yeah.
Do I feel like she has like the greatest wrestling prowess in the world?
Ooh, if you say yes, we're going to stop recording and the podcast will go dark.
So my answer is no.
Okay.
She does not. Do I feel like
you were getting like enticed by the visual of the whole thing? I thought you were getting fooled into thinking that it was good looking in the ring. And I'm like, wait a minute.
Do I feel like though she could help storyline wise? Absolutely.
Oh yeah, definitely.
One of the best storylines I ever recall her being in was with Stephanie McMahon.
That was her greatest storyline.
Oh, absolutely,
by far.
She had a storyline with Stephanie that was Daniel.
You remember the slaps in that?
Yes,
and
they were real.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, I mean, we always know Stephanie brings it. Because it's her business.
Yep.
So. And plus, she's the boss. What are you going to do? Get mad and fight her in the back? You're going to have to take whatever she gets. But she, and Brie took a couple of them. But when Brie finally got her back, I mean, I can remember the rumors on, with the type of dress that Stephanie wore that she literally wet herself right in the ring because she got slapped so hard. But
she got them comeuppance.
Yeah, point of it is she got slapped. They slapped the S out of her, and she gave as good as she got.
Yep.
That turned into some really intriguing TV.
That was one of the best stories that I'd seen her in, and of course, the kind of cheeky little storyline that they had at the beginning, the twin magic thing.
Yeah.
It took some prowess to kind of pull that off. Yeah,
I mean, that was kind of product of the environment at the time. So,
but what she I really think she could inject something into that women's division. I really think that she could.
Oh, I didn't know where you were going right there. I'm like, wait a minute, what? Who's injected into who? What?
Hold on, y'all. I got to bring Frank back. He went way off course there for a minute.
I was getting ready to take a drink, and I'm like, wait, what did he just say? Why are we just saying this word with Brie Bella? Then I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I see.
That's Bryan Danielson's job. Exactly. I have nothing to do with that.
Well, he's got Birdie, and I don't know the boy's name. There's a couple kids out of there, so apparently he's doing his job.
But I really do think she could bring the storylines up a little bit more in the women's division there in AEW. I think also notoriety. I mean, granted,
yeah, she's a Hall of Famer.
Granted, though, Saraya,
I don't know how the hell that happened, but she is a Hall of Famer.
Pandemic.
Yeah, true. Gotta get viewers somehow or another.
But I mean, Saraya jumped in.
Who?
Yeah, Paige.
Oh yeah, Paige. There we go, Paige. Xavier Woods. Yeah.
Oh no,
Ryan Maddox.
Man, we're gonna have to move on for this topic. I can already tell.
I mean, I'm trying to remember Paige, and that's just what popped up.
Well, don't Google it. I can tell you that.
No, definitely Google that. If you're over the age of 21, start Googling it right now. It'll be well worth your while.
But as far as what I feel like she could do for that women's division, I think it would be great.
Yeah, it definitely wouldn't hurt. I mean, that's for sure. If, she packages in with her sister, I mean, you got 2 female Hall of Famers, right there.
And even if they don't wrestle, even if they run like a management.
Anything that they came in and did, I mean, they're going to bring positive eyes to the product.
Yep.
Simply because, name notoriety. Yeah, they changed their names, but I mean, at the end of the day, they were Brie and Nikki. They weren't necessarily just the Bella twins. When they originally started, the first 5 years of their career, Bella Twins. I mean, no clue who was who.
Tell me how many times. Tell me how many times since Adam Cope himself has gotten into AEW that people don't still refer to him as Edge.
I mean,
it's going to happen
until they start using the Cope moniker that we laid out. That should be on the list. Maybe
how to cope with Cope.
How to cope with Cope. I mean, that could be his little show, coping with Cope. I mean, you're coping with Adam.
Hanging with Mr. Cope.
Oh wow. Okay. that died on the vine right there. So moving through that part, good Lord, that was brutal.
Oh, that was brutal.
That was brutal. But yeah,
was
moving
a dad
through
joke if there ever was.
I mean, yeah, Nikki and Bria bring, eyes to TV regardless. They had me watching the E show that they were doing with reality TV. If I watch that nonsense, that means I'll pretty much watch them do anything because, I know there's going to be wrestling involved. So, yeah, they would bring eyes to the product. So, yeah, I could definitely see that helping the AEW product and get some fans in there, get some eyes on the product.
All right, let's move to your point.
Okay, so breaking news. As we were recording here, news came out that apparently Billy Corgan has signed with the CW to start airing the NWA TV product on the CW, national TV.
Congratulations.
Absolutely.
Round of applause. Congratulations.
Exciting times there, and who would have thought it would have happened as we were recording? I mean, we're getting updates over here on the side. We got monitors all over the place.
Ticker going by.
Yeah, so, we got to keep up on the hottest, freshest news. And I mean, that happened in the moment. So,
Pat McAfee in the studio next door.
Pretty much. I mean, so, we'll take it before he gets it. We want to get it out there first.
Right.
But leading into that, I was just thinking, remember back in the TNA days, when Billy Corgan was first dipping his feet in the waters of pro wrestling, and he wanted to buy TNA, he kind of wanted to do his own thing, and Dixie Carter was still the owner of TNA, and she kind of didn't want that to happen. She was kind of rejecting it or whatnot. So my thinking was, why not get those two to partner back up again? Get Dixie Carter and Billy Corgan in the NWA, quote unquote NWA. Have them come in and do a raid or quote unquote takeover of AEW with the TNA product. I mean, EC3 is Dixie's nephew. I mean, he's Ethan Carter III. That's Dixie Carter's nephew. That was the storyline that he was brought in as, and now he's NWA champion, so he's Billy Corgan's top guy.
I don't think I ever connected those dots.
You didn't watch a lot of TNA back then. I mean, that was when he was brought in, that was his whole thing.
I will say the Dixie Carter era was probably an era where I stopped watching TNA.
Yeah, see, I watched through that. Then I watched through Hulk Hogan. Then when the Hogan Bischoff era, then kind of when Lashley phased out, Kurt Angle phased out, Sting phased out, Frank also phased out. He left right along with those guys.
I didn't pick up TNA again until the Hardys were having their Hardy compound matches.
Oh yeah, where Delete started and all that.
And a friend of mine at work was like, dude, you gotta tap back into TNA and check this out. But he's like,
at that point in time, Dixie was kind of foregone at that point. She was kind of out.
And I watched it and I was like, I don't know what I just watched, but I gotta watch it again.
we gotta do a TNA episode sometime. We need to research.
Go back and watch that.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do research and do a TNA episode soon. Yep. But yeah, my thinking was, that again, unbeknownst to you and maybe a lot of the listeners, EC3 was Ethan Carter III. He was Dixie Carter's nephew. Now he's Billy Corgan's NWA champion. So I feel like, the three of them could lead like a strong arm style takeover of AEW, kind of like an invasion type thing. We know Tony has no problem working with any outside promotions. And now that Billy Corgan and NWA have an actual TV product that they can both cross promote on, why not take advantage of it? Why not, jump right into it, have some fun with it, make an invasion angle, iron sharpens iron, let those two companies rub up against each other and make something of, challenging WWE for one of those spots.
So I definitely could see that happening. It actually kind of plays off my number 2 that I had in our list a little bit.
All right.
So the number 2 one that I had was, instead of a Impact and NWA merger, I have the merger of AEW and New Japan Wrestling. And basically,
that didn't already happen. I thought AEW, Ring of Honor, and New Japan were all the same thing already.
Nope.
Oh, well, enlighten me. I thought, I'm behind on the times. I thought maybe I read future predictions. Maybe I jumped into DeLorean and I got it up to 88 miles an hour. And
there was a kind of a rumor a while back that the dirt sheets was pushing around that Tony was getting ready to buy New Japan.
Yeah.
So that never came to fruition. No, he never purchased the company. That never came to fruition.
I know that happened after Wembley, and I mean, it seems like me and the rest of the world tuned out of AEW a little bit after Wembley. So I guess that's why I thought it happened and it didn't.
Yeah, but I think the reasoning though that I've got behind their merger kind of makes more sense than the actual merger. So for me, if AEW and New Japan was to kind of team up, so AEW's got kind of the U.S. on lock. They got kind of the AAA promotion in Mexico. They got it on lock with the Luchadors coming up, right? So New Japan's got their stuff on lock in Japan.
Yeah.
And then they also have the West Coast of the United States kind of locked up because they do all kinds of things over in Washington and California and stuff.
True. But they don't sell a lot of tickets.
No.
Yeah, they're there.
But they also do a lot of things in England. So over in Europe.
They sold a lot of tickets there.
They did sell a lot of tickets there. So for me, I really think if they were to merge up and create this global conglomerate to try to battle,
kind of like what WWE and Triple H said they were going to do with the NXT product.
Correct. If they would kind of do that, they would be able to eat up and eat away at some of those resources that WWE could tap into.
True, very true.
And if Tony wants to talk about competition, I think that might be his way of giving the middle finger to the man, so to speak.
Well, let's be honest. That's his only way to do it. I mean, because as you said, AEW has the U.S. on lock. I don't know if I agree with that. I mean, he's active in the U.S., but I mean, WWE is a U.S., it's a global company, right, but it's a United States powerhouse. I mean, nobody's going to introduce any wrestling in this country that's going to overtake WWE. It's just never going to happen.
Not overtake.
But if you start working the other countries, if you start working on a global aspect with established companies, like you said, New Japan, AAA, I mean, they're bigger than WWE in their respective countries. Yeah. Not globally, but in their respective countries they are. You could actually overtake them like that if you owned all those companies and then you moved your product in and kind of merged like that. You could overtake WWE on a global aspect. You still won't do anything to them in the States, but on a global aspect, yeah, you could put it, if somehow or another they could get a working deal with India. I mean, we all know India's got more viewers and population than the entire rest of the world. If they could figure out a way to get some kind of working conglomerate with them, by default they win. They win everything because even though India might not see it for 6 years, when they see it in 6 years, it's going to have a blowout rating.
So there's a couple of hot wrestlers that are kind of coming up on the free agent market right now that I really feel like that Tony, along with some of the other owners of these other promotions, if they do their work the right way, they can kind of keep those guys from going to WWE, to the competition. I really feel like you've got Zack Sabre Jr., you've got Will Ospreay, you've got Okada from New Japan.
Yeah.
Some of those guys, I really think if WWE could get their hands into those guys as far as bringing them in and propelling them to that next level, they would do it in a heartbeat. But the thing is WWE right now is so hot, is caught fire. I don't know. I would want to see some of these guys go to the WWE.
Yeah.
They might get put on the back burner.
Yeah.
And dude, Will Ospreay, I'm a huge fan of his right now.
Yeah.
Love his attitude. I love his mannerisms. I love the kayfabe. I love the in-ring work.
Yeah.
He is kind of a Lex Luger total package, not body guy, but just total package.
That's a stretch in comparison, but I get the moniker. Yeah, he definitely is the moniker, but whoo, Lex, Will Ospreay, God.
But I want to see some of these guys do so good. I want to see them on my TV every week. And the only way that I see that happen is if somebody does some type of a merger to kind of create some bigger conglomerate.
Well, those guys, I mean, like you said, if WWE could do anything with them, they could make them big stars, but those guys have resisted the WWE pull at different periods of their career. I don't think it's so much a WWE isn't interested. I think they're not interested in WWE.
I think that's what it is.
They want to stay out of that product because they know at some point in time they're going to be cast under that Roman Reigns type shadow, and they're going to be forgotten about a little. You know, as phenomenal as they are, you know, quote unquote phenomenal, sometimes you fall into that AJ territory where every other wrestler is right now, where you're playing a little bit of second fiddle. And there's already a lot of second fiddles in WWE right now. So if you come in there as a emerging talent, you know, everybody's not going to get the Jade Cargill treatment.
No.
Everybody's not going to get the AJ treatment when he first came into the company. A lot of those guys are going to find themselves on things like NXT or, hell, in the Performance Center, not on TV, you know, and you don't make money on not on TV. So I think them not being in WWE is more of a them thing than it is a WWE thing.
They want to blaze their own trail, and I'm definitely down for that. But again, we've said it before, and we'll say it again. If you want on the brightest lights and you want on the biggest stage, where you got to go. Yeah.
I mean, at some point in time, you got to get on a WrestleMania. So
yeah, I mean, even Sting caved and eventually went.
Yeah, it didn't do him any favors, but he did it. You know, now on his, you know, under his belt somewhere it says WWE appearance. So, but it's funny that you said WWE needs to work on ways to keep talent from leaving, you know, AEW or AAA or things like that to go to WWE, because that leads right into my second prediction, which could be considered outlandish. I think it's fun. So, and I think it would be really, really interesting. I think it would be really, really good for AEW. Right now, with Adam Cole being injured, MJF's kind of flailing, right?
Yep.
I mean, you know, they're doing the angle with the Bang Bang Club and that Juice Robinson controversial stuff. And they need to get so far away from that as all humanly possible.
They need to just do a 180 and leave.
So, it sounds interested you say that. My idea of a 180. Remember the Summer of Punk back in 2011?
Yes.
Punk won the title and supposedly left and blah, blah, blah. I feel like that's what they should do with AEW and MJF right now. MJF has really nothing to grab onto right now. After his match with, you know, Juice Robinson or who's the other dude, Jay White. Mm-hmm. After the match with them, I feel like he should win. He should retain the title. But I want to see him, quote unquote, leave AEW. But not in a CM Punk, let's copy it way. Let's go original with it. Let's do something completely new. He should change his name from MJF, first of all, because that distances him from that whole Friedman Quarters thing. And all. Let's just move away from that. Let's kind of get people to forget about that. He should change his name to like a stock WWE name where he comes up with like, you know, I don't know, like Max Payne or something WWE would come up with. Not Max Payne, but, you know, let's call a spade a spade. A typical white guy name,
like
right?
The New Jersey Brawler.
Could be. I mean, he won't be that bad. I mean, Max will be a main eventer, but let's say they call him like Matthew Fox or something like that, right? Something that's kind of close, you know, or like Michael J. Fox, you know, kind of playoff. Because it's still MJF, but
no name at all, just a symbol like Prince.
Yeah, I don't think that'll get over well, but you know, something like I said, like let's just say Michael J. Fox, just for fun. Right now, we know that name's taken, blah blah blah, but because it's still MJF, the same initials that people call him, change his name to that, and then have him quote unquote audition to be in WWE. Like, you know, he'll still appear on AEW TV because he's contracted. But just like CM Punk did, where he comes out there, you know, he's not really wrestling, but he's more acting like the sports entertainment guy than he is the pro wrestler guy, where he's kind of molding himself into the WWE mold, where he's kind of auditioning just to get in WWE, but he's outright saying it. It goes along with his character already, where he's saying in 2024 he's going to leave and contract also, negotiations and all that.
And also where he's like, I may be a douchebag, but at least I'm your douchebag.
Exactly. Like, so you know, he's already got
the tagline.
Yeah, he's already got that character. Play into it. You know, again, that'll be something that gets him out of the whole Adam Cole thing, because we can't do that while Adam's injured. And it kind of gets the Maxwell Jacob Friedman thing with the whole quarters incident off people's minds, because he's not Maxwell Jacob Friedman anymore. He's Michael J. Fox or whatever you want to call him.
Right.
He plays into that. You know, it gives him something, and you can run that until summer. You could run that for 6 months. Let him do all these things where he's still the champ. He comes out there and wrestles every now and again, but he wrestles a WWE style match, right? He doesn't wrestle, he isn't doing that, what do you call it? The Japanese style where they do that strong style nonsense where you stand there and wait for a guy to square up and hit you with his hardest part. He don't do none of that. He wrestles a straight WWE style match under his WWE name with his WWE persona, his entrance and all that, make it as sports entertainment as possible. Play into the fact that he's already saying it. Let's just make fun of it. Let's just say this is what you're going to turn into if you go to WWE and turn him into that quote unquote lovable clown type guy and just say, hey, if you stay here, you'll be this. If you go there, here's what you'll be, and make him into that. We know he's got the range to do it because his acting chops are there. He can perform. He could carry this kind of role. I feel like putting him into something like that would make his title reign more interesting because he's been bland, since the whole Adam Cole injury happened.
He could even go to guys like Jericho or Mox or Bryan Danielson.
Exactly.
And say, hey, when you were over there in the land of...
Yeah, just up north. They call it up north.
Can you give me some, pointers?
Yeah. Or, things like I said, when Jericho had the Appreciation Society, he could, just come out and tell him I know you were trying to make fun of this and blah, blah, blah. But be honest, didn't you make more money when you were there? Didn't you have more fun when you were there? Weren't you more creative? Just anything to blow it out, just make it so huge.
And to be honest, guys, to break the fourth wall, I really don't think MJF's going anywhere.
No, because they wouldn't bring it up so much. No. But that's why you do this gimmick.
Exactly.
You just lean into it.
Exactly.
And then when is his contract up? Sometime next year? Mm-hmm. Ride this all the way until then, and then the day he quote unquote signs his extension or signs his contract, he comes out, blows the gimmick out of the water, craps all over it.
Yep.
The fans are going, and he says, FMWW, I'll never go there. I'm with AEW for 4 more years or something like. The fans, the few that are in the building, would erupt. They would go crazy. It'd be internet fodder forever.
Oh, absolutely.
Everybody and their brother would comment on it. It would be huge. And this is only my second idea. I still got a bigger one for this, but I feel like that would be huge for MJF, and it would make him the most interesting person in AEW without the dressing of Adam Cole and Roddy Strong. And he would be able to stand on his own with that gimmick and make visual magic every time he comes out.
I definitely like that idea. I'm kind of hoping that comes to fruition.
I really wish they would admit that they're listening and just go ahead and adopt it. We know they're listening because we've seen our stuff come out there. Just go ahead. Okay, so let's be honest.
Just
go ahead and sign us to the writing team and let us execute this plan to full fruition. Let us make you make money.
I would love to be a writer.
Absolutely. I would not. I would hate to be a writer because I hear the Bruce Pritchards and those kind of guys talk about having to go through. And,
I didn't say to be in the WWE.
Yeah, Vince calling them at 3 o'clock in the morning WWE. Hey, pal, I got an idea. I got an idea too, Vince. It's 3. Go to sleep. Now roll over, hit your girlfriend up, send her home.
Pay another $1 million or $2 million.
Exactly. Do that. I got an idea for you too, but don't call me. That's a damn good idea.
All right, so let's roll on into the third ideas here. So
I don't know if I can top that. I don't know if my third one's going to top that one now. That one went far. That would have more legs than I thought.
All right, so mine is kind of a serious topic that really needs to happen. And there's really not much else to say about it, but it's just the truth.
That's good because we're running out of time.
Yeah,
now.
we are running out of time.
We done milked them first two so much now we're running out of time.
So this one, I don't know if it happens this way, but if it does happen this way, kudos to them. But Young Bucks, Hangman, and Omega need to threaten their leverage as EVP statuses and force TK to at least have his Twix account filtered through a handler.
Oh, whew. Good Lord. So
because that man is about to blow up everything that they have worked so hard to build. He ain't doing
him or that company any favors by tweeting. So I got an analogy. Ain't nobody said this one, so this is going to be breaking news again, but I just want everybody in the room. So you got to be over 30 to relate. So you're over 30. I'm over 30. We can relate.
Yep.
Remember back when you were a little guy, growing up, and, and your mom or, in my case, my dad, whoever it was, had to do that discipline on you, because you had been out there acting a fool and just showing your butt out there. And your parent, y'all listening, y'all know either your mom, your dad, grandma in some of y'all cases, had to get y'all back in line. And how they would just tell it, go in that room, boy, pull them pants down, and you about to take this ass whooping like a bad child like you are.
Yep.
Remember after that would happen, as you would, and they would say, now go to your room and think about what you did or something crazy like that. Remember as it would happen, you would like storm off, stomping your feet, and under your breath, you cussing them all. Man, I hate them. I wish my daddy wasn't my daddy, and blah, blah, blah. I hate my mama, blah. I can't believe they be, but basically you throw a temper tantrum because you got your butt spanked. Well, Tony Kahn tweeting after NXT did what they did to AEW really gave me the image of Tony had just got that butt spanked.
Yeah. And
then he had to go storm off into the crowd and, curse mommy and daddy for beating that butt that weekend. That's pretty rough for a 41-year-old man to have to do on his 41st birthday.
And the one that really got me though was the one that he put out there about Cena and The Undertaker. and I'm like this. Look, I don't care what your style is. I don't care what your color is. I don't care what your religion is. I don't care about any of that. At the end of the day, it boils down to two things. It boils down to love and it boils down to respect. That's to me, that is the world in a nutshell right there. So for him to do that, I know he thought he sounded all big and bad and was throwing WWE a dig like, okay, yeah, y'all beat us, but you caused this damage to your primetime players, so to speak.
Hey, primetime players. Nice. Where are those guys at now?
But to me, what he showed a disrespect for the business.
Yeah.
Because I'm sorry. You look at the work and the hustle that those two men have put into this business.
And the respect. And the loyalty.
Exactly.
Loyalty.
So, but you look at all of that they put into it, and yet you're going to devalue and try to deface their names just so you can make a point about your company or a stat or like, why you do that? Not to mention what are you sending to your locker room and saying to the Edges, to the Christians, to the Bryan Danielsons, to the Moxleys about
what he's saying, whether he understood it or not, was Undertaker and Cena, who ain't wrestling no more, can outdraw y'all by double because while they performed to a crowd of under 1 million, y'all barely got over 500,000. So like you said, now you take all those ex-WWE guys who have been at the highest of highs, now you're telling them, hey, y'all are way on the B show now because we can't even keep up with NXT. They pull out a couple of tricks out of their hat and blow us out of the water, but y'all got to still stomp and carry the AEW flag. So, without understanding what he was doing, not only did he devalue the business as a whole, but he made his own business look like crap because they lost. Had they won and he said that, then he could say, yeah, Cena and Undertaker were under 1 million viewers while Edge and Christian commanded 2.5 million. Yep. At that point, now you're saying something. And when you're saying Edge and Christian performed in front of what? 3,500 people and had barely 600,000 watching, while NXT had 300 people in a soundstage, but yet had 1 million viewers almost. That's counterproductive by far. It's ridiculously counterproductive.
And we've all said that thing that we didn't want to say, and we should have just shut our mouths before we said it. And we've all almost wrote that text or tweet or email, and then you slept on it overnight and said, you know what, I don't need to send this. So we've all been at that, but at the same time, it's almost like he's too much of a either brash personality, cocky personality, or just childish and doesn't understand.
I think it's the latter.
But the thing is though, it's like, okay, you want to be that way, that's cool. There's repercussions that's going to come after that. Yeah. Because I'm sorry, if you say the wrong thing about the wrong person at the wrong time, cancel culture is going to come after your ass.
Yeah, and now granted, we teeter on that line a lot here, but our listeners are our people. We love y'all love us.
Shout out to our people.
Exactly. So we ain't sweating on getting canceled from our people, but when you're trying to broadcast nationally to trying to get 500,000 viewers, if you offend a subset of those viewers, which Tony Khan did in later tweets, where he talked about how he hates the internet wrestling community because they come after him about his tweets, and
just stop reading the comments.
Exactly. No, he needs to take his emotions out of it. If you're going to be a businessman,
businessman.
operate a business.
Absolutely.
If you're going to be an emotional wrestling fan, be an emotional wrestling fan. But you can't play both sides of that.
Back it all day long with the money, but let somebody else
Exactly.
be the CEO.
If me and you go, if somebody attacks the Booker's Alliance podcast and we go back at them, on a personal level, well, we ain't defending the Booker's Alliance podcast, but we're defending ourselves because now we done took it to heart. If we're defending the podcast, we could probably just say, well, look at our numbers, look at our stats. Blah, 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 period. Go away. That's what WWE said to AEW. They're like, we trounced y'all with our C-show. Look at that. And then they just kind of forgot about it while Tony tweeted his little fingers off. It's not helping the product. It's not doing him any favors. But my number 3 idea could possibly help him and could do his business a lot of favors. My 3rd idea would be for him to turn the booking responsibilities over to Edge and Bryan Danielson.
Absolutely.
I feel like both of them are on the tail end of their careers.
Absolutely.
Danielson has flat out already said he's got less than a year. He put it out. Now, granted, you can, you throw a lot of money at people, you can change minds, but Bryan Danielson isn't the kind of guy that's motivated by money like that. Plus, he's made a lot of money. Still has made a lot of money. Those guys aren't here because they need the payday. They're here now in AEW because they love the business and they feel like they still have more to give to it, but they can't work a WWE type schedule. Well, hell, you don't need them in there wrestling every week. Their money ain't in the wrestling no more. Edge and Bryan Danielson ain't going to sell out a WrestleMania. They sold out a WrestleMania a couple years ago. Both of them got smashed, stacked, and pinned by Roman Reigns. So exactly. So their days are done. But their minds are still as fresh and as tight as could be. You let those two guys get together, build themselves a writing team, amongst, it doesn't have to be all old timers. They're just the two best that they have right now. You let those guys build themselves a writing team, let them take over the book. That way, Tony Kahn can feel free to tweet whatever he wants.
Yeah.
Because at that point, he's just the guy signing the checks. He's Ari Emanuel. He has nothing to do with the day-to-day operations of it. He's got Jim Ross over there. He's got Arn Anderson over there. He's got a lot of guys who have done a lot of different things. Tony Schiavone's over there. He's got a lot of guys who've done things like talent relations. He's got guys who've done booking. He's got guys who've done every aspect of the business that he don't know nothing about. And yeah, you can say you like Tony, whatever. He's a great guy. He's a great fan, blah, blah, blah. He's proven that he doesn't know enough about these particular topics of the business to operate the business effectively.
And I think right there, even though it will never be published, it will never go spoken about, and he will take it to his grave, I honestly think that's why Cody left.
Absolutely. He said to the effect of, he just didn't like the direction things were going.
Right.
As far as his character, as far as the business as a whole. The reason it was because as that was happening, Tony was pulling power away from him and the Bucks, and he was kind of taking it more onto himself. And when you take it on yourself, Cody could see the writing on the wall. It's like, well, wait a minute. You ain't the guy you ain't Vince McMahon.
Right.
He may feel like he is, but the fact is he's far more like Dixie Carter than he is Vince McMahon.
Ouch.
And even Billy Corgan came out and said, with statements that were made about the NWA, even Billy came out and said like, hey, you ain't Vince McMahon. You're not even really Billy Corgan at this point. You're a rich kid who's got a lot of money and a lot of fandom, but that don't mean that you're built for the wrestling business, because there's a difference. Being a fan and being in the business are different. And Tony may not be the best guy for that. He may need to hand that off.
Yep. So, Tony, we gave you some tough love tonight. We've
take it to heart.
Take it to heart.
It's called constructive criticism. We ain't tearing you down tonight. We're trying to build you up.
We want to see you do the damn thing.
Absolutely.
We want to see this
We
happen.
like the competition.
We like it. We want to see it continue. We want to see it flourish. And maybe this time next year, AEW is pulling some incredible numbers.
With some of these ideas, they would be.
Absolutely. So just feel free to use them.
Like I said, I gave you an analogy about, the parent beating down the kid. To top that off, a parent would tell a kid after they give constructive criticism, if we didn't care, we wouldn't give it to you.
Give it to you.
We'd sit here and trash you, and, we could have trashed you for 45 minutes and called it one. we're trying to give you suggestions to help because we want to see you be that powerful number 2 brand that makes WWE sit back on their heels and say, oh, hell, we got to do some more creative to make our stuff better. And that's better for everybody.
Absolutely. So we want to thank you for listening to today's episode. We appreciate you guys. We want you to reach out on the social media platforms, drop us a line, tell us what you're thinking about. And with always, until next time, we bid you adieu.
Double deuces.
Today's podcast was produced by SBP. You can find our podcast on all major podcast platforms. Also connect with us on our social media accounts. Search for The Bookers Alliance on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.